What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to KRAZY4 RC. I'm Tim. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. Got a bunch of stuff in my way. Hopefully you guys don't mind. This is how we're gonna have to shoot it. Got a lot of things to show you. And yeah, new project coming. On second thought, give me 1 second. There, that's better. Sorry about that, just having some fun. Yeah, like I was saying, welcome back to KRAZY4 RC. I'm Tim. Welcome back to my channel. You guys saw I had quite a pile. Basically my entire workbench was full of parts, different boxes and things like that. We got a new project coming. You know, not trying to hide it or anything. You guys saw social media, you saw in the title of the post, we're building the comp truck. So we're going to get to the exact build that I'm going to throw together, show you guys exactly kind of what I have in mind. But before we get to that, I kind of want to lay out the concept, the whole, you know, what drove this decision, and, you know, kind of what we're looking to do, you know, as a video series, and, you know, creating content for YouTube and also trying something new. So quick recap, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know, I've been in RC for a few years pretty seriously. You know, my collection's gone from 5 or 6 to almost 30 in the span of about a year, maybe a year and a half. And you guys also know that I have a ton of crawlers. I don't know the exact number, but we're somewhere around the 20 mark. So it's definitely the primary focus, you know, of the hobby for me. And, you know, what I'm enjoying the most right now, I really enjoy the building, I enjoy the planning, you know, the shopping, the retail therapy behind it, the wrenching, and obviously going out and driving them too. And I'd say I enjoy all the planning and the building slightly more even than driving. Some people think I'm crazy for that, but I do enjoy getting them out and running them too. But in all that time, I used to live in Virginia, now I live in Georgia. Not a lot of great terrain, at least where I've been in those areas. In Virginia, I was near the beach, and in Georgia, I'm on the eastern side, which is, you know, kind of the flat part of the state. So, never done a competition. It's just never really been an option, to be honest. Rewind about 6 months, back in October, I went to Cherokee Rock Village for an RC event, awesome event. But it was not, you know, competition oriented. It was just, you know, a couple of days getting out, crawling, playing with friends, enjoying each other's builds, and mostly just BSing while we, you know, walked through the woods chasing tiny vehicles. But that was the first time I actually had an opportunity to crawl on like real rock that had some very challenging technical terrain. You guys have probably seen the lake that I crawl at. It's not bad. Pretty small scale, but it's good enough, especially for where I live, and I appreciate that I have that. But a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting here and kind of thinking, you know, what's the next big thing? Obviously, right now, I just kind of wrapped up the A1 chassis, which was, you know, the previous big thing, and I had that chassis ordered for about 3 months. So I kind of knew that that was going to be kind of the next big thing, following the C3. You know, a series that hopefully, you know, garners your guys' attention, you know, brings people to the channel, but, you know, is also putting out information that's not very plentiful out there regarding that chassis. I did the first 2 parts of the tool series as well. Those videos didn't do super well. I am going to do the final part of that tool series eventually, kind of that advanced level tools, you know, fabrication stuff, maybe just higher end hand tools and drills and things like that. 3D printers. But in the meantime, I've been trying to think, what is the next series I want to do? Create some content, have some fun, kind of challenge myself, take myself out of my comfort zone. And I'm wearing the West Desert Wheeler t-shirt here. And a few weeks back, I did a live stream on Instagram with Logan over at West Desert Wheeler and Luke from Scumbag RC. Logan obviously runs a very nicely done YouTube channel, puts out great content, a lot of really good narration while he's crawling, and he lives in Utah, so he has plenty of terrain, very close to his house. Luke actually has a YouTube channel, pretty small right now, just getting it started, but his Instagram is really well done, and they both compete against each other and just enjoy the hobby as a whole. But I don't know if it was one of the viewers during the live stream or they just asked me, competition came up and they asked, you know, if anyone had ever won a competition. I think it was a viewer that asked that. And I said, I've never even competed, so no, I've never won. And Logan was trying to convince me, you know, just jump in, like pick a competition, go to it, you know, build a truck. Don't plan on winning, but plan on, you know, having fun, learning a lot, figuring out your setup, and then the next time just trying to do a little bit better than you did the last time. So I kind of wrote that off for a little while, but about a week later, I finally was, you know, laying in bed one night and thought, you know what, I think that's the next thing, is like, it's gonna be me documenting the process of building a comp truck, you know, walking through my thought process on picking out parts. I know some of them are going to be somewhat controversial, probably not the most competitive. It kind of came down to product availability, simplicity, and, you know, the ability to turn it around and make it a truck, get some practice in with it, get some tuning in before the competition. But once the truck's built, I want to go out and document some practice, some tuning, some thoughts behind, you know, some changes maybe that I want to make. And then I'm going to do my best to document what it's like at the competition. I'm gonna, you know, swallow my pride a little bit and get out of my comfort zone and film at an event with a bunch of other people around, what it's like to go through tech, the highlights from driver's meeting, what kind of stuff they put out. We're gonna talk about the Sorka rule sets that we're gonna follow, and then ultimately we're gonna document, you know, how I do at the event. Okay, so that's the intro. Sorry, a little bit long-winded, but kind of wanted to set the scene a little bit. So the event I'm going to be attending is the East Coast Championships at Cherokee Rock Village in May 18th through the 21st. I plan to go down the night of the 18th, you know, get checked into a hotel, and then I'm going to be at the event on the 19th, the 20th, and probably some on the 21st as well. Now, I bought Class 2 tickets. I was able to secure one Class 2 ticket. For this first one, I'm not really interested in doing Class 1 or Class 3. I'm just going to focus on kind of the most common, most popular class. And that decision was kind of based on looking at rule sets. And while we're on the topic of rules, East Coast Championships, they're going to be running the 2022 Sorka rules. Now, luckily, I followed a couple of, you know, series leading up to Scale Nationals at Cherokee Rock Village last year, and that's the rule set, obviously, that they were following in 2022. So I had a little bit of familiarity. I got in there, read the rules, watched some videos of people breaking down the rules even further, kind of explaining what each thing means, and decided ultimately that, you know, Class 2 is really where I want to be, especially for this first one. So I'm really excited. I'm excited to, you know, get the truck built. Obviously, I just said, you know, that's probably my favorite part. So the whole planning process of, you know, figuring out what parts I want, what's going to be, you know, competitive versus what I already know and, you know it's reliable or it performs well was a little bit stressful, honestly. But I enjoyed it, and I think I have, you know, a very good foundation for a running truck. As it sits, it's definitely not going to point out by any means. I don't even know if that's going to be feasible. I know that not pointing out is a huge disadvantage, you know, in a competition, but this is kind of short term. You know, it's March 27th today, so I have less than 2 months. You know, have to work a full-time job, have part-time school, and, you know, personal life as well. So we're just trying to balance it, but we're going to try to put a truck out there that I'm comfortable with. I know it performs well and has parts on it that I have a high trust in. So I know you guys are probably, you know, dying to see what I'm going to go with. So let's just jump right into it. I'm going to start laying out parts. I'm not going to do a build video of step by step of putting the truck together, but I will keep you guys updated on how the progress is going. You know, check my social media, check Instagram. Trying to get more active on there. So KRAZY4KOMPS _RC. On Instagram, go over there, give me a follow, and you guys will be able to see, you know, some picture updates, things like that of how things are progressing. But let's get some products up here and we'll talk about my plan. All right, so the first thing you guys probably noticed was this Vanquish Phoenix Portal kit. This decision was kind of multifaceted. One, it came down to availability. I kind of looked at the SCX-10 Pro. I talked about that truck on a podcast episode, I think episode 4, and kind of ate my own words. And in that episode, I was talking about, I didn't think that the price, kind of justified the means, and it was kind of the wrong market. People who want to do comps are going to go out and source their own stuff, or the beginner is going to want to spend even less. But after pricing out the truck, figuring out, transmission, axles, and a flat rail chassis kit, or just, rails in general, gets pretty expensive pretty quickly. Now, those were back ordered at least for another month, I think the end of April, and I just could not run the risk of it getting pushed back even further and having, only a few days to build the truck, no test time, nothing like that. So we decided to go a different route. Now, this Phoenix kit is just going to donate some parts to what I decided to go with. And if you're up with the times, some of the smaller aftermarket companies in RC, you know that there's a company that makes an aftermarket chassis that utilizes the transmission out of this, the axles, the links, the shocks. So it really uses a lot of the most expensive parts of this. I actually priced out a set of F10 portals and VFD transmission, either the VFD standard or the twin, and some shocks as well, and decided just to go ahead and get the truck. I already have a few of these bodies laying around, from the C3, from the A1, from another kit as well, and decided I'm probably just going to sell this body online. So we'll get to that eventually, but yeah, it is going to donate a few parts, and the rest will be used to kind of recoup some of the cost of this build, which ended up being fairly expensive. But enough about the Phoenix, let's get the next main part. So this next thing is the chassis kit. And if you know this logo, you know exactly who makes it. So this is a carbon fiber Ground Fox chassis. You guys have seen my Ground Fox. It's got the J Concepts creep body on it. Kind of that copper and silver paint job with some flake in it. The Ground Fox actually does really well in that. The problem is, not a huge fan of the Stealth X transmission, at least where it puts the center of gravity. Also, the element axles are not the most high performing. The steering angles isn't great on them, and I do kind of worry about the durability of that ring and pinion. So that's one reason we went with Vanquish, because I know I've had really good luck with F10s. They have great steering angle. Their gears are rock solid. The transmission keeps the weight nice and low, and throw that into a flat rail, and I think we're gonna have a pretty decent combination. So not doing an unboxing of this, but you end up getting a bag full of some parts. Carbon fiber chassis rails. They look pretty similar to the other Ground Fox that I have. That one was aluminum, so saved quite a bit of weight here. And then you get your instructions. Pretty simple. This kit came from Poland. Artful Dodgers is out of Poland, and it ended up taking about 2.5 weeks to get here after I ordered it. Maybe 10 business days after I shipped it. So really good turnaround time. Definitely way faster than the SCX-10 Pro would have been. So I'm happy, and obviously happy to get this first video out to you guys. Okay, so that kind of makes the heart of the truck. I'll show you guys what else I'm throwing on this. So for ESC, we're gonna go with a Mamba Micro X2. So it's actually the same ESC I have in my other Ground Fox, the one with the creep body on it. Really small, hasn't given me any issues. I know they had some problems with the BECs, so they actually ended up taking the BEC out of it. But it now does come with a 10 amp Castle BEC, which we are gonna need. We're not gonna need it for our steering servo because we're gonna be running an SDRC, the RS800 V2. Very powerful servo, 4S capable. So is the ESC, so kind of an easy pair there. I have the V1 in another vehicle, and it's been great. We're also going to be running a winch. We're comping, obviously, so we got a 300 IS, internal spool winch, and that chassis kit does come with the ability to mount a servo winch to it. The routing may be a little bit tricky because of the, you know, the size of the transmission and where it sits, but we'll figure that out. So lastly, for motor, obviously, you know, we're going Holmes Hobbies. Pretty easy choice on the manufacturer. For the actual motor, we're gonna use a 10 shooter stubby. A little bit smaller, didn't need the full size. I have a 10 shooter full size 540 and the other Ground Fox. Didn't think it was necessary for this, so looking forward to this motor. That other 10 shooter is really smooth, tons of torque. I think this shorty is gonna be just fine. Hoping to be in the 5 pound range for this total build. We'll see as things get closer, but definitely don't wanna be over that 6 pound mark. Try to keep it as competitive and as lightweight as possible. I would have liked to have gone with NSDRC. They have an RS700 low profile servo, but they weren't out yet, so we did incur a little bit extra weight, but the way the servo mounts in the Ground Fox, it actually lays horizontal as opposed to vertical. I know that there's some pros and cons with that. Your CG gets a little bit lower, but there can actually be some disadvantages with that horizontal mount, given the angle of the actual truck, which way the tires are pointed, and how the steering servo is pointed as well. A couple of other goodies we got machined front gears for that VFD twin that comes in the Phoenix. We also have the machined bearing plates. With these, you really don't need the full machine gear set. For a while, they were including those full machine gears with the Phoenix kits. They're not anymore, unfortunately. I thought maybe I'd get them and I'd be happy to run them, but we'll see. I may decide to go ahead and order them up before I get building on this and just have fully machine gears just to be safe. But I may go ahead and build it with these, get some practice time, and really kind of put the truck through its paces. And if I need to tear it down and replace it with machine gears or just do a transmission swap from another vehicle, I can do that. So for some front weight bias, we're gonna run Vanquish's you know, portal covers. These are super heavy, add a ton of front weight, down low, non-rotating mass, and these are SORC illegal because they have a function. You know, they are the outer cover for the portal. They do caveat that you can't just, you know, put wheel weights or sticky weights or anything like that on there, but that's not what these are, and these are legal. Decided to go with some high clearance lightweight links, and we went with Hardcore RC for that. The wait time was a little bit long on this. His processing time is a little slower. Took about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks for them to get processed. But once they were processed, they shipped very quickly, and I got them quickly as well. So if you need to order these, I'd say just, you know, order them, you know, well ahead of time before you need them, because it did take some time. But went with titanium just to try to save some weight, and obviously the high clearance is going to be an advantage. So we got ourselves a couple sets of tires. I wanted a few options. So I was watching videos of the Scale Nationals, which was ran during the colder months in Alabama at Cherokee Rock Village, but it seemed like everyone was running Hyraxes, and I don't think there's a coincidence to that. So got a fresh set of Hyraxes. Got some foams for those as well, dual stage crawler innovation foams. But I did also get another set you guys just saw on the A1 VXT2s. So these are a really sticky tire. There's an advantage to these. They are advertised on the sidewall and on their website as 4.75. They are a little bit bigger. They're closer to 5 inches when mounted up. Some people say a little over, some say a little less. I think mine are just slightly less, but any advantage we can get, we're gonna take. So these are legal. They're not on the banned tire list or anything like that. I will take these either way. And I plan to do some practicing the Friday before, you know, the main Class 2 day. I can run a few courses that day, but we'll figure out exactly what tires are hooking, and that's what we'll stick with. Another advantage of the two sets of tires is the Hyraxes are in G8, which is a little bit harder compound. So if it's pretty warm, which there's a good chance it will, being in the south and being in mid to late May. But the Vanquish tires are in the red compound, which is ultra soft, very comparable, I think, to the Predator. So we have two sets of compounds as well. So if it's a little cooler, these might have the advantage. If it's a little bit warmer, we're probably going to run the Hyraxes. We may run those anyway if they're doing better. So one of the last things I got was I got a set of Dravtex. Never had a set of Dravtex. I did get these in the ultra short. These are 80 millimeters. We'll see how they do. If they're not long enough, then I will get another set. I'll find a use for these. I got a set of their offset shock caps as well, just to make sure we had mounting options. And I also got a spring tuning kit. These run like the mini T springs, I believe. But I've been looking for a reason to, you know, pick up a set of Dravtex. And honestly, the price really wasn't too bad. All in all, a little bit more than like RTR or, you know, shocks from a bigger manufacturer. But I think they have a really good reputation. Heard and seen nothing but good things about them. So we wanted to check them out, and I'll let you guys know what I think. They might be my new favorites, my new go-tos. You guys have definitely seen I really like the SAD shocks just for their low profile. These are pretty big bore shock for how short they are, and they're supposed to be ultra smooth, and hopefully they don't leak either. But we got one last thing. Obviously we need a body. What body did I decide to go with? When it comes to competition, especially Lexan bodies in competition, just didn't have time to, you know, figure out a hard body, make that work. You really have two choices. You got a Power Wagon, which I just sold my Power Wagon, or it seems to be the Cliffhanger. Which one do you guys think I chose? If you guessed Cliffhanger, you guessed right. Just a standard regular cab Cliffhanger body set from Proline. They did just recently release that single cab only. I just didn't know if I was gonna have time figuring out a rear cage. I would have loved to braze one up with that, you know, but didn't really want to add the rear weight. Like I said, we want this to be as high performing as possible, and wanted to stay Lexan. And for simplicity's sake, I'm definitely happy that I chose that. Now for scale points, there are a few things I'm already kind of planning on using. I've got some takeoffs from some RTRs, things we can just put in the bed. We are going to plan to do a Lexan interior, find one that works with that Cliffhanger, get the electronics covered up, at least get points for that. We're going to run metal bumpers, front and rear. Don't know exactly which ones yet, but that is the plan. And we're going to test out those Rock Pirates RC sliders for the Cliffhanger with this chassis, and if they end up working, I'll steal those off my other Cliffhanger and then order up a replacement set for that truck. But I really like those sliders. They're nice and lightweight, and you know, they are super slick, and they kind of hold the body in too. But that's a wrap on the first episode of our competition series. Maybe I'll try to come up with a catchy name for it, but we're just, like I said, we're going to be documenting kind of the whole process. And we're going to keep you guys updated the whole way, whether it's a picture or post on social media, potentially workbench vlogs for quick things. You know, keep you guys posted on things I decide to add, what bumpers I decide to go with. If I think the sliders with the Ground Fox chassis kit are going to be good enough, or if I need to, you know, figure out my own, maybe bend up my own. But I'm really excited to get to work on this, and, you know, get the truck out, see how it performs, see if I need to do any tuning, you know, shock weight, springs, things like that, and just really start practicing. The biggest thing I know I need to practice with is winching, so I'm going to try to recruit my wife. I think we're going to go out to Stone Mountain and actually get on some real rock, see if we can find some tough lines out there, and make a little winch stick and just have her, you know, work with me so I can practice driving and winching, because I've never done that, and I have a feeling that's going to be one of the toughest parts. You're going to see a lot more, you know, me driving through cones or gates and trying to, you know, just push myself, forcing myself through lines, and just thinking in that mindset. Probably even, you know, calling out when I hit a reverse. That way, you know, I'm constantly being conscious of, you know, when I'm backing up, needing to reset, and how I approach, you know, each obstacle. But let me know in a comment down below. I expect there's going to be a little bit of controversy on what I chose. I know there's a lot of really good chassis manufacturers out there, Brazen Scale, you know, TGH, G-Speed, Crook Carbon Works. There's, you know, those are kind of the bigger names, but there's a lot of other ones as well. I didn't really explain it, but the reason I chose the Ground Fox is I have experience with it. Basically the same chassis layout for the most part. It does have an angled skid, so I am getting that advantage, and it's still Class 2 legal, but it comes with all the cross members, the panhard mount, the servo mount, and all of those things. So it kind of takes a lot of the extra work out of the way. Maybe I will look to get a SCX 10 Pro and just do a side-by-side in the future. Build it out with some similar stuff and put the same tires on it, and you know, see if it can run the same gates. I imagine that's going to be after the comp. Like I said, May 18th to the 21st, Cherokee Rock Village. I know the Class 2 tickets are sold out, so it is a little late for you to, you know, get in there, but comment down below if you got tickets, if you're going. My goal is to not get last. Even if I get second to last, I'll be happy. I don't know how realistic that is. The fact that they call it the East Coast Championship is a little bit intimidating, but I'm not afraid to be embarrassed. I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I'm really excited for it. So before you guys go, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell. Go over to my Instagram, give me a follow. That way you're, you know, up to speed on everything that's going on the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.